The southern coastal winds in Vung Tau often carry the salty tang of the sea along with the gentle sound of waves lapping the shore. But tonight, the Baik Truoc beach was strangely still. The dim yellow glow of the street lamps spilled onto the seaside road, casting long shimmering streaks across the rain-soaked pavement from the afternoon shower. Nam, a young photographer, sat huddled on a stone bench by the road, eyes half closed as he gazed toward the sea. His old Canon camera, his faithful companion, rested quietly in his bag. He had just returned to Vung Tau after nearly 10 years of wandering. This city, to him, was not only his birthplace but also a keeper of a slow-burning pain, an unhealed scar. Suddenly, Nam exhaled sharply, took one last drag of his cigarette, and put it out. He stood up and stretched. The white shirt he wore was worn thin at the shoulders, stained in places, and the sea breeze made him shiver. "Time to go home," he muttered in a hoarse voice. Turning away, he left behind the sound of waves, which seemed to return, steady and rhythmic, like a melancholy lullaby. The narrow alley leading to Nam's house was silent, with only the shuffle of his slippers echoing against the damp brick pavement. His old home, its plaster walls peeling, sat wedged between two modern townhouses like a low, somber note in the lively melody of the city. The front door was ajar, a faint light spilling out from inside. "Dad's still awake," Nam thought, feeling a mixture of warmth and guilt. He pushed the door open and stepped in. His father, Tai, sat under the yellow glow of a lamp, reading a newspaper. His hair was almost entirely gray. Deep wrinkles lined his face, and his eyes, sunken and tired, lit up with an unmistakable joy at the sight of Nam. "You're back, son," his father said warmly. Nam smiled, setting his backpack down on the chair. "Yes, I just got back. Have you eaten dinner, Dad?" He stepped closer, feeling the familiar warmth radiating from him. Tai nodded. "I have. I was just waiting for you. I didn't want you to come home late and find the door locked." Nam felt a sting behind his eyes. He had been gone too long, leaving his father alone in this house filled with painful memories. "You could have just left the door unlocked. I have a key. Go get some rest. Tomorrow I'll take you out for breakfast." His father patted his shoulder. "You've traveled far. You must be tired. Rest now. I'll go upstairs to bed." He rose slowly, climbing the old wooden staircase, each step creaking in its familiar way. Nam watched the frail figure retreat, his heart heavy. He knew his father's weariness came not only from age but from old wounds of the heart. Once his father was upstairs, Nam went to the kitchen to pour a glass of water. The small kitchen was exactly as it had been when he'd left, an old wooden table, an aging refrigerator, chipped porcelain bowls, all of it stirring an indescribable nostalgia. A sudden chill swept in from the unlatched window. Nam shivered, walked over to close it, and caught sight of a figure lurking in the yard. "Who's there?" he called softly. But there was no reply. He hesitated, then stepped outside. The yard was shrouded in darkness. Beyond the reach of the streetlights, only the faint crescent moonlight filtered through the coconut trees, casting everything in a hazy, mysterious glow. Nam squinted. No one was there. He exhaled in relief, telling himself it must have been his imagination, and turned to go back inside. "Close the door or the spirits will come in," a gentle, familiar voice whispered by his ear. Nam spun around. Standing before him was a young woman in a pure white dress, her long hair flowing down her back, her delicate face framed by clear, luminous eyes. She smiled softly. "You're back, aren't you?" Nam froze. He'd seen her somewhere before, her face, her smile, even her voice felt achingly familiar. "Who are you?" he stammered. She kept smiling, but there was a faraway sadness in her eyes. "I'm your friend. Have you forgotten me?" Nam searched his memory but found only a blank void. He shook his head. "I'm sorry, I don't remember." Her smile faded, replaced by a look of deep hurt. You really don't remember me, Nam?" she said, her voice breaking. A sharp pang twisted in his chest. That strange familiarity grew stronger, as though they'd once shared a deep bond. "Do you need something?" he asked gently. Tears shimmered in her eyes as she stepped closer. No, I just missed you. Another cold gust of wind blew, lifting her hair. Nam felt an icy chill radiating from her, sending shivers down his spine. You should rest, she said softly, her voice fading. You're tired. Nam nodded uneasily. You should go. She nodded, turned, and walked away. Her figure dissolved into the pitch-black night. Nam stood frozen, watching until she disappeared. Who is she? He murmured to himself, his mind swirling with questions. Back inside, the chill clung to his skin. He went upstairs and lay down, but sleep wouldn't come. Every time he closed his eyes, her face appeared, those sorrowful eyes, and her voice asking, You really don't remember me, Nam? He tossed and turned until dawn, when he finally drifted off. In his dream, he was standing on Bait Truoc Beach as fierce winds roared. Ahead of him stood the woman in white, her back to him. Who are you? Nam tried to call out, but his voice was strangled. Slowly, she turned around, her face ghostly pale, her eyes hollow black voids. Nam jolted awake, drenched in sweat, gasping for breath. He tried to shake off the horrific image. Birds chirped outside, announcing a new day. Soft morning light streamed into his room, easing his fear a little. He walked to the window and looked out. Far away, Vung Tao was already awake, the hum of traffic, the chatter of people, everything seemed normal. Yet inside him, one question echoed. Who was that girl? And why did she appear in my nightmare? Downstairs, he found his father had prepared breakfast. Eat up, Tai said, eyeing him with concern. What's wrong? You look pale. Nam shook his head. It's nothing, Dad. I guess I'm still getting used to the time difference. He forced a smile, but the unease lingered. I have to find out who she is, he thought. He needed to know why she made him feel both comfort and fear. After breakfast, Nam took his camera and wandered the streets of Vung Tau. He photographed old houses, tree-lined streets, and narrow alleys. Every time he looked through the lens, he thought he glimpsed the woman in white. Startled, he would lower the camera, but she was gone. Maybe I'm just haunted, Nam muttered. He walked to the hydrofoil pier where he'd once stood with a close friend. He remembered the day he left Vung Tau, standing here, watching the boat fade into the horizon, feeling as empty and hopeless as the pier itself. Suddenly, a light hand rested on his shoulder. What are you thinking about? Nam jolted and turned around. It was the girl in the white dress. She was standing right behind him, smiling. That smile was still as pure and gentle as the first time he met her. But her eyes carried a sorrow she could no longer hide. Why are you here? Nam asked, his voice trembling. He stepped back, that familiar coldness wrapping around him once again. I've been here waiting for you, the girl said softly, her voice like a breeze. I've been waiting for you to come back. Nam turned his face toward the sea. I don't know who you are. Please, stop following me. He tried to suppress the fear building inside him. You really don't remember? Her voice quivered. The day you left, I stood here at the pier, watching you go. You promised me you'd come back. Her words cut into Nam's heart like a knife. He turned to face her. What are you talking about? I've never made such a promise to anyone. Tears streamed down her face. You've forgotten me? I'm Heen, your best friend. You promised me that no matter where you went, you would return. Nam's mind reeled. Heen? That name. He remembered a childhood friend, someone who had always been by his side. But Heen was dead. She had died 10 years ago in a traffic accident. That's impossible, Nam stammered. Heen, she's dead. The girl smiled through her tears. I didn't die. I've been here all along, still waiting for you. Nam shook his head, stepping back. His mind was spinning. Images and memories of Heen came flooding back, her face, her smile, the way she looked at him. Everything about her matched the girl standing before him. You're not Heen, Nam said firmly. Heen is dead. The girl stood silently, tears still falling. You've changed, Nam. You're no longer the person I once knew. Nam gazed at her, a sudden wave of sorrow filling his chest. He didn't know what to say or do. Part of him wanted to believe she was Heen, but his reason refused. Heen was dead. That was the truth. Please, go, Nam said quietly. I'm begging you, leave me alone. She remained there, her tear-filled eyes locked on him as if she wanted to say something more. But in the end, she stayed silent. After a moment, she turned, walking away until her figure faded and then dissolved into the air. Nam stood frozen, unsure if he was dreaming or awake. He ran a hand over his face, feeling his heart pounding. What was happening to him? That night, Nam returned home in a state of panic. He didn't dare tell his father what had happened. He simply ate his dinner in heavy silence. After the meal, Nam went to his room and shut the door. Sitting on the bed, he tried to steady himself. "There are no ghosts," he muttered. "It was just an illusion. Just an illusion." But he couldn't stop thinking about the sorrow in her eyes. Or the words she had spoken. "You promised me that no matter where you went, you would return." That sentence echoed endlessly in his mind like a curse. Nam couldn't sleep. He got up and stepped out onto the balcony. Vung Tau at night was quiet, with only the gentle sound of waves breaking on the shore. His eyes drifted toward the sea, toward the hydrofoil pier shrouded in darkness. A deep, aching longing swelled in his heart, for a friend, for a promise long forgotten. Could she really be Heen? Nam whispered to himself. He didn't know. All he knew was that from this moment on, his life in Vung Tau would never be peaceful again. Some hidden truth, some buried pain, was slowly beginning to surface. Nam tossed and turned all night, even when the morning sunlight streamed into the room, scattering the shadows of last night's illusions. Her words still echoed in his mind. Have you forgotten me? I'm Heen, your best friend." He sat up, pressing his fingers to his temples, trying to shake off the overwhelming confusion. Heen, his closest friend, the one who had died 10 years ago, had suddenly appeared and told him she was still alive. Nam went downstairs. Mr. Tai was already at the dining table, sipping a hot cup of coffee. "Son, you look terrible. Didn't sleep well last night?" Mr. Tai asked with concern. Nam shook his head. "I'm fine, Dad. I guess I'm just not used to Vung Tau yet." He sat down, picked up a piece of bread, but couldn't bring himself to swallow it. "If something's bothering you, just tell me," Mr. Tai said, looking straight into Nam's eyes. "Don't keep it all inside." Nam felt a sudden sting in his nose. He looked at his father, then out the window where the morning sun was shining brightly. He wanted to tell his dad, to say that he had seen Heen, but he held back. Would his father believe him? Or would he think his son had lost his mind? "No, I'm really fine," Nam said, trying to reassure him. "Don't worry, Dad." Mr. Tai sighed softly, saying nothing more. He knew something was going on with his son, but also knew Nam didn't want to share it. After breakfast, Nam slung his camera over his shoulder and went out for a walk. He tried to capture familiar sights and old memories to push last night's events out of his mind. He wandered through narrow streets, past old coffee shops, and rundown apartment blocks. Everything looked the same as when he had left, yet something felt different. He stopped at a small seaside cafe, ordered a black coffee, and sat by the window looking out at the sea. The Vung Tau waters were still deep blue, waves still whispering against the shore. He remembered childhood days when he and Heen would come here to play, picking seashells, building sandcastles, running barefoot on the white sand. The memories came rushing back, vivid as a slow-motion film. "Nam, what are you doing here?" A familiar voice broke his thoughts. Startled, Nam turned around. It was Tram, his ex-girlfriend. She was still as beautiful as ever, with long, flowing hair and bright, round eyes. "Tram, what are you doing here?" he asked. She smiled and sat down opposite him. "I work here. When did you get back? Why didn't you call me?" I just got back yesterday," Nam said hesitantly. "I wanted to visit my dad first." Tram looked at him with gentle eyes. "You haven't changed. You still like being alone." She glanced at a photo on the table. "Who's this?" she asked. Picking it up, it was a picture of a girl smiling brightly on Bai Truoc Beach. Nam had taken that photo of Heen 10 years ago. Startled, Nam quickly snatched the photo back. "It's nothing, just an old friend." Tram's eyes narrowed with curiosity. "An old friend you keep so carefully?" "Don't ask," Nam said sharply. "This has nothing to do with you." Tram sighed softly. You're still the same. You never share anything with me." She stood up, her eyes tinged with sadness. "If you don't want to talk, I won't press you. But Nam, if something's wrong, you can always tell me. I'm still here." With that, she walked away, leaving Nam alone with his confusion and regret. Nam sat in the cafe, staring at the photo of Heen, her radiant smile, her bright eyes, exactly like the girl he had met last night. "No, it can't be Heen. She's dead," he muttered. Then he remembered. The day Heen died, he had been away on a work trip. He only heard the news by phone and couldn't return for her funeral. It was the greatest regret of his life, not being there during her final days. Nam stood up and left the cafe, heading straight to the cemetery. The Vung Tau Cemetery sat on a small hill overlooking the sea. The wind roared in from the ocean, carrying the scent of salt and the sound of waves. Nam walked among the graves, searching for hers. Finally, he found it, a small grave under an old almond tree. Her name was carved into the headstone, along with her birth and death dates. Heen, she really is gone, he thought, feeling both a strange relief and a deep ache in his chest. He sat down in front of the grave, telling her about his life over the past 10 years, about his travels, his photographs, and the people he had met. He spoke as though she were still here, listening. "Heen, I'm sorry," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm sorry I wasn't there in your last days. I'm sorry I forgot you." The wind picked up, tousling his hair. Then a familiar, gentle voice called his name, Nam. Startled, he turned around. It was the girl in the white dress. She stood right behind him, smiling. "You haven't forgotten me," she said softly. "I've always been here, in your heart." Nam shot to his feet, backing away. Who are you? Why are you here?" "This is Heen's grave. Don't disturb her." His voice trembled. She smiled. "I'm Heen. Don't you believe me?" Nam looked at her, then down at the grave. His mind spun, unable to tell what was real and what was a dream. "Heen, you died? You don't believe me, do you?" Her voice turned sad. "You've changed. You've forgotten all our promises." "What promises?" Nam asked, panic in his tone. "I don't remember." She stepped closer, her hand reaching up to caress his face. "You promised you'd never forget me. You promised you'd always stay by my side." Nam flinched and stepped back. Her hand was ice cold. "Don't touch me," he said in fear. "Go, just go." Her eyes glistened with pain. "Are you afraid of me?" she asked. Then looked down at the grave. "You came to visit me, but you still won't believe I'm here." A strong gust of wind swept through, carrying a strange, familiar scent, the fragrance of frangipani. Nam suddenly remembered. Heen had loved frangipani flowers. When she was alive, she always wore a white frangipani blossom in her hair. Nam looked at the girl. She was still standing there, her long hair billowing in the wind, but her face had grown pale and her eyes were empty. A chill ran down his spine. You're not Heen." The girl gave a strange, eerie smile. "Then, who do you think I am?" Nam didn't answer. He turned and bolted, sprinting down the hill. The wind roared in his ears like something chasing him. He didn't dare look back, didn't dare check if she was following. He just kept running until he felt he was far enough to be safe. He reached a roadside diner and collapsed onto a stone bench. His chest heaved as he tried to catch his breath. "What's happening to me?" he muttered. "Did I just see a ghost?" A deep, consuming fear gripped him. He couldn't believe his own eyes. He had seen Heen again, but not the living, breathing Heen. This was a ghost, the spirit of someone who had died 10 years ago. Why? Nam asked himself. Why would Heen come back? And why would she say that I'd forgotten her? He suddenly recalled Tram's words. "You're still the same. You never share anything with me." Could it be that his indifference, his lack of care, had hurt Heen in some way? Nam sat there, staring at the sea, his mind in turmoil. He didn't know what to do or where to go. He didn't dare return home, afraid that Heen's ghost would appear again. All he could do was sit and wait for the fear to fade. That night, Nam didn't go home. He rented a small room in a cheap inn and lay down restlessly. He didn't dare close his eyes, afraid the nightmare would return. "I have to find out," he told himself. He had to learn what really happened to Heen, why she died, and why she had come back to find him. One thing he knew for certain: Vung Tao was no longer the peaceful city he remembered. It had become a place of secrets, of haunting memories, and of restless ghosts. In the days that followed, Nam's life in Vung Tao descended into chaos. He no longer dared to go to the beach alone, nor did he dare return home. He rented a small room in a boarding house, living each day in a haze of fear and haunting thoughts. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Heen's face, those hollow eyes and that eerie, twisted smile. He tried everything to forget, but the harder he tried, the clearer those images became. Nam knew he couldn't keep running forever. He had to uncover the truth. He had to find out what really happened to Heen. He had to face his fear head on. That morning, Nam went to the cafe where Tram worked. She looked surprised to see him. "Nam, what are you doing here? Haven't you gone home?" she asked, concern in her voice. Nam sat down and ordered a coffee. His tired eyes met hers. "Tram," he rasped, "can you tell me about Heen?" Tram froze. "Heen? Why are you suddenly asking about her?" I just want to know," Nam said. "I want to know what happened to her." Tram looked at him, her expression cautious. She hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. "The truth is, Heen took her own life." Nam. Her words struck him like a knife to the heart. He went rigid. "Took her own life?" he stammered. "Why? Why would Heen do that?" Tram sighed, her eyes heavy with sadness. "No one really knows. People only saw her jump into the sea. Her family said it was an accident, but everyone knew it was suicide." "She jumped into the sea?" Nam asked, his voice trembling. "Where did she jump?" "Right at Bai Sao," Tram said, pointing toward the ocean, "by the rocky point, the same place you and Heen used to go when you were kids." Nam felt dizzy. He remembered the day he left Vung Tao, the promise he made to Heen, that he would come back. And sometime after that, she had taken her own life. "Do you know why she did it?" Nam asked, his voice filled with despair. Tram shook her head. "No one does. But after you left, she was so lonely. She kept to herself, barely spoke to anyone. She'd go to the sea, sit there, and stare out toward the horizon. Maybe she just missed you too much." Nam was stunned into silence. What had he done? He had promised Heen he would come back. But then he disappeared for 10 long years. He had forgotten that promise, forgotten his best friend. He was the reason she had suffered. And ultimately, the reason she had died. "Thank you," Nam murmured softly. He stood up, leaving his steaming cup of coffee untouched, and walked out of the cafe. He went straight to Bai Sao Beach. The ocean wind howled, carrying the salty tang of the sea. He stood on the rocky point, the place Tram had described. This was where Heen had ended her life, looking down at the endless expanse of blue water, his heart filled with pain and regret. "Heen, I'm sorry," Nam whispered, his voice choking. "I'm sorry for leaving you alone. I'm sorry for forgetting you." Suddenly, a cold gust brushed his shoulder. Startled, he turned around. It was the girl in the white dress. She stood there, watching him, her eyes full of sorrow. "You remember now?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You remember the day you left? You promised me you would come back. But you didn't." Tears streamed down Nam's face. "Heen, I'm sorry." "Sorry for what?" Her voice suddenly turned cold. "Sorry for abandoning me? Or sorry for not coming back?" "I'm sorry for everything," Nam said, his tone heavy with despair. "I'm sorry for making you suffer. I'm sorry for causing your death." The girl smiled, a twisted, haunting smile. "You think I died? I didn't die. I'm still here, still waiting for you." Nam stepped back, feeling a wave of icy energy radiating from her. Fear gripped him, but so did pity, pity for a friend who had been driven to the brink by a promise that was never kept. "Heen, you need to let go," Nam said, his voice trembling. "You need to move on. Don't stay here any longer." She shook her head. "I won't go. I won't leave until you remember everything, everything you did to me." "What did I do?" Nam asked, bewildered. "What did I do to you?" She stepped closer, her hollow eyes fixed on him. "You promised me. You promised you'd marry me. You promised me a happy family. But then, you left me behind to face everything alone. Nam froze. No, that's not possible. He muttered. I don't remember. You don't remember, or you chose to forget. Her voice cut like ice. Did you forget the nights we spent together? Did you forget our promise? Her words pierced Nam's heart like a blade. He remembered, a night under the full moon, when he and Heen had gone to the beach together. They had sat side by side, watching the moonlight on the waves. And he had told her, I'll marry you, Heen, we'll have a happy family. Nam sank to his knees, clutching his head. No, it can't be. You promised, she said, her voice laced with anguish. You promised me, but then you left. You abandoned me. No, Nam shouted. It's not my fault. I didn't know you loved me. You didn't know? She said bitterly. Or did you just pretend not to? You knew, Nam, you knew, but you chose to ignore it. A strong gust swept across the beach, flinging grains of sand into the air. Nam looked into her eyes and saw a pain so deep it was almost unbearable. The pain of betrayal, of being left behind. Heen, I'm sorry, Nam said, tears running down his cheeks. I'm sorry for everything. She looked at him with a trace of pity. Remember, Nam, remember everything that happened, and when you do, you'll understand why I can't move on. With that, she vanished into the air. Nam remained on the beach, alone. The wind still blew, the waves still crashed, but inside him, a storm raged. I have to remember, he told himself. I have to remember it all. He knew that the truth about Heen's death was not just a simple suicide. It was tied to him, to his promises, to memories long buried, and he would have to face it. He would have to uncover the truth, no matter how painful, so that Heen could finally be free. Nam stood and looked toward the setting sun. The crimson glow lit up the water, casting a shimmering path across the sea. He felt no more fear, only resolve. He would not run anymore. He would face his past. Nam's decision to uncover the truth about Heen's death completely changed his life. He was no longer afraid, no longer running away. Instead, he was filled with determination, no matter how painful the truth might be. He would face it. Nam knew he was doing this not only for himself, but for Heen, so that her soul could finally be at peace. He returned home. Mr. Tai looked at him in surprise. You're back? Where have you been these past few days? I've been so worried about you, his father said, his voice full of concern. I'm fine, Dad, Nam replied. I was just out taking pictures, rediscovering Vung Tao. Mr. Tai studied him with skeptical eyes. If something's wrong, just tell me. I'll always be here for you. Nam smiled faintly. I know. He didn't want his father to worry. He wanted to handle this himself. That night, Nam climbed up to the attic, the place he and Heen had once called their own little world. The small space was dusty, but everything remained: old books, paintings Heen had drawn, toys they had made together. Each item brought back beautiful memories, but also deep sorrow. Nam sat down and rummaged through an old wooden box, the one he and Heen had made together to hold their shared secrets. Opening it, he found a small, faded blue diary. It was Heen's diary. He held it in his hands, his heart heavy. He remembered Heen once telling him, Nam, I've written all my secrets in here. If you ever forget me, read it, and you'll remember everything. Taking a deep breath, he opened the diary. On the very first page, Heen had written, day, month, year, today. Nam told me he would marry me. I'm so happy. I'll be Nam's wife, and we'll have a happy family. Reading that, Nam felt his heart twist in agony. He remembered that promise. He had once told Heen he would marry her. But he had forgotten. He had forgotten the promise, and he had forgotten her love. He turned to the next page. Day, month, year? Nam has left. He said he would come back. I'll wait for Nam to return. Nam kept reading, and with each line, each page, it felt like a knife cutting into his heart. Heen had waited for him, waited in vain. She had suffered, she had despaired, and he hadn't been there for her. The diary ended with shaky handwriting. Nam, why didn't you come back? I've been waiting for you. When he finished reading, Nam lowered his head, tears streaming down his cheeks. He cried, for Heen. For her love, and for his own foolishness. He had been careless, indifferent, blind to someone who had loved him with all her heart. Heen, I'm sorry, he whispered, his voice breaking. I was wrong, I was so wrong. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept over his shoulder. Nam looked up. There she was. The girl in the white dress. Heen's ghost, smiling. You remember now? She asked softly, though her tone was laced with sorrow. You remember our promise? Nam looked at her, tears still falling. I'm sorry. I truly am. Sorry for what? She asked. Sorry for making a promise you didn't keep? Or sorry for letting me die? I'm sorry for everything, Nam said. I'm sorry for not coming back. I'm sorry for not being by your side. She smiled, a haunting smile glistening with tears. You don't need to be sorry. You just need to remember, you loved me. You promised to marry me. And you abandoned me. No, Nam cried out. It's not my fault. I didn't know. I didn't know you loved me that much. You didn't know? She asked. Her voice suddenly cold. Or did you choose not to know? You knew. Nam, you knew. But you chose to ignore it. Nam's head spun. He remembered the times Heen had hinted at her feelings. And how he had always avoided them. He had been afraid of love. Afraid of commitment. He had turned away, pretending not to see. And in doing so, he had hurt her, driven her to her death. Heen, I'm sorry, Nam said, his voice trembling. I truly am. She gazed at him with pity. Remember, Nam, remember everything that happened, and when you do, you'll understand why I can't move on. Then she vanished into the air. Nam sat alone in the attic, clutching Heen's diary tightly to his chest. The fear was gone, replaced by overwhelming grief and regret. What should I do? He thought. He had remembered the love they once shared, remembered his promise, but he knew that wasn't the whole truth. There was still something else, some secret about Heen's death that he didn't yet know. Nam went downstairs and looked toward the living room, where his father was reading the newspaper. Dad, he said quietly, can you tell me about Heen? About the day she died? Mr. Tai looked up, shock in his eyes. You want to know? Nam nodded. Yes, I want to know everything. Mr. Tai sighed and folded the paper. All right, he said, I'll tell you. Nam sat down and listened. Listened to his father speak of Heen's final days, of the pain and tears she had endured. And Nam knew he was about to face a truth that could change his life forever. The dim yellow light of the living room cast the shadows of Mr. Tai and Nam onto the wall. Nam sat upright, his heart heavy. He knew that whatever he was about to hear would be painful. He looked at his father and waited. Mr. Tai took a deep breath, his eyes distant as if digging through old memories. The day you left, Heen came to see me. She asked, Uncle, now that Nam's gone, when will he be back? I told her, don't worry, he's only gone for a while, he'll be back. Nam clenched his fists. He could feel Heen's pain, the pain of waiting. But she kept coming. Mr. Tai continued. Every day, she stood outside the door, looking into the house. I felt so sorry for her that one day I told her, Heen, stop waiting. Nam's gone, and he's not coming back. Those words hit Nam like a lightning strike. He looked up at his father in shock. You told her I wouldn't come back? Mr. Tai lowered his head, his voice trembling. I lied to her. I told her that lie. Nam could hardly believe what he was hearing. Why would his father do such a thing? Why would you do that? Nam asked, his voice breaking with despair. His father raised his tear-filled eyes. Because I didn't want you to marry her. I didn't want you to stay here. Nam went cold. Why? Because I wanted you to have a better future. Mr. Tai said painfully. I didn't want you stuck here in Vung Tao. I wanted you to go far. To do what you love. But you lied. You lied and made her suffer. Nam said, his voice shaking with anger. I'm sorry, Mr. Tai said, tears rolling down his cheeks. I didn't know she loved you that much. I didn't know my words could drive her to her death. Nam collapsed into his father's arms and cried. He cried for Heen, for his father, and for this cruel truth. He had gone away and lived freely. While here in Vung Tao, someone had died because of him, because of a lie. Dad, Heen has appeared to me, Nam said, his voice trembling. She told me she can't move on. Mr. Tai stared at him in shock. You're serious? Nam nodded. Yes. She said she can't rest until I remember everything. Mr. Tai hugged Nam and patted his back. Don't worry, son, I'll help you. The next day, Nam and his father went to Bai Sao Beach. The wind was strong, the sound of waves constant. Nam stood on the rocky point where Heen had jumped into the sea. He looked down at the deep blue water, his heart aching with regret. Heen, I'm sorry, Nam said, his voice breaking. I know the truth now. It wasn't your fault, it was mine. And my father's. I'm sorry for making you suffer. I'm sorry for causing your death. Suddenly, a cold gust swept past Nam. He turned. The girl in the white dress, Heen's ghost, stood there. Looking at him, her smile was gentle, but her eyes were filled with sorrow. So you know the truth now? She asked, her voice trembling. You know it wasn't my fault, it was yours. Nam looked at her, tears streaming down his cheeks. Yes, it was my fault. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? She asked, her voice suddenly cold. Sorry for making me die? Or sorry for breaking your promise? I'm sorry for everything, Nam said desperately. I'm sorry for not being there. I'm sorry for not marrying you. She smiled, a haunting, almost otherworldly smile. So you know the truth now. You know why I died. Then, keep your promise. What promise? Nam asked, bewildered. Our promise, she said, her voice tinged with an eerie persistence. You promised to marry me. So, marry me. Nam froze. That's impossible. He stammered. You're dead. I'm not dead, she said, her tone turning sharp. I'm still here, still waiting for you, and I won't leave until you keep your promise. Nam stepped back, feeling a cold energy radiating from her. He looked at his father. Mr. Tai was pale, staring at the girl. You can see her? His father asked, his voice trembling. Nam nodded. Yes, you can see her too? Mr. Tai nodded slowly. I can see her. That's Heen. Nam's head spun. He didn't know what to do or say. He could only stand there, face to face with the ghost of his former love, and the promise he had broken. Keep your promise, she said again, her voice like a spell. Marry me. Nam looked at her, then out at the sea. He knew he couldn't marry someone who had died, but he also knew he couldn't keep running forever. He had to face his fear, face his past. He had to do something to help Heen's soul find peace. Taking a deep breath, Nam said, all right, I'll marry you. Nam's words left both Mr. Tai and Heen's ghost frozen in place. I will marry you. His voice trembled, but it carried a firm resolve. He knew he was doing something crazy, but he also knew this was the only way to free Heen and himself. Heen's ghost stared at Nam, her eyes wide with surprise. Tears streamed down her face, but they were not tears of sorrow, they were tears of emotion. You mean it? She asked, her voice quivering. Nam nodded. Yes, I'll marry you. He turned to his father. Dad, I'm sorry. I know this sounds insane, but I can't keep running away. I have to face the past. I have to do this so Heen can finally move on. Mr. Tai looked from Nam to Heen's ghost and sighed. All right, he said, I'll help you. We'll hold a simple wedding, just me, you, and Heen. A gentle smile formed on Heen's lips. She looked at Nam with gratitude in her eyes. That night, Nam and his father prepared for the wedding. Mr. Tai lit incense and set a vegetarian offering on the altar. Nam brought out a white wedding dress, the dress he had bought for Heen 10 years ago but never had the chance to give her. In that moment, Nam remembered telling Heen he would buy her a beautiful wedding dress. And he had, but he never got to place it in her hands. He held the dress, his heart aching. He could see Heen's face in his memory when she once said, Nam, I want to marry you. We'll have a happy family. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept over him. He turned, and there stood Heen's ghost, gazing at the dress with deep emotion. You still kept it? She asked, her voice trembling. Nam nodded. I kept it. I bought it for you. And I was never going to throw it away. Heen stepped closer, tears in her eyes. Do you really love me? Yes, Nam said softly. I've loved you for a long time, but I was too afraid to face my feelings. I was afraid of commitment. And I left you." Tears streamed down Heen's face. She stepped even closer. And then something strange happened. Her ghostly form began to dissolve into a stream of white light that drifted into the wedding dress. The dress suddenly shimmered, as if woven from starlight. Nam stood still in shock, holding the dress, feeling its warmth. He knew Heen was now within it, by his side. Wearing a white shirt, Nam stepped into the yard holding the wedding dress. Mr. Tai was already there, waiting. Under the full moon, the yard looked strangely romantic. "Are you ready?" his father asked. Nam nodded. "Yes, I'm ready." Mr. Tai began the ceremony, lighting incense and offering prayers. Nam stood there, his heart pounding, feeling the warmth of the dress and the presence of Heen. "Heen, I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm sorry for making you wait so long. I'm sorry for not being by your side." A soft breeze passed through, and the dress in his hands stirred gently, as if answering him. Afterward, Nam and his father went to the sea, standing on the rocky point where Heen had leapt into the water. Nam held the wedding dress and gently released it into the waves. It floated on the surface before slowly sinking, carrying away memories, pain, and broken promises. Nam gazed at the water, his heart heavy. "Heen, please move on, go somewhere better, and please, forgive me." Suddenly, a beam of white light appeared on the surface of the sea, rising upward until it merged with the moonlight. Nam looked up, and in the moon's glow, he saw Heen's face smiling at him. It was no longer an eerie smile, but one of peace and serenity. I love you," Nam whispered. Heen's face in the moonlight smiled once more before slowly fading away. The moon still shone, but it no longer glittered as before. The sea breeze still blew, but the waves no longer sounded mournful. Everything felt calm. Nam turned to his father, who was also gazing at the moon, tears streaming down his cheeks. She's gone," he said, his voice shaking. Nam nodded. He felt a strange lightness in his heart. The fear was gone. The haunting had ended. He had freed Heen and himself. He knew Vung Tao would no longer be a place of pain for him. It would now be a place of memories, promises, and the love he had for Heen. But the story wasn't over. Nam still had questions. Why had Heen truly taken her own life? Was it only because of his father's lie? Or was there another secret? Looking out at the sea, Nam felt his determination harden. He would find the truth. He would find the answers, so that Heen could be freed completely. After that strange wedding night under the moonlight, Nam felt an immense sense of relief. The haunting presence of Heen was gone. But the questions remained. Why had she taken her own life? Was his father's lie the only reason? Or was there another secret he didn't yet know? Nam decided to meet with Tram. She had been a close friend to both him and Heen, and perhaps she knew more than anyone else about what had happened during the 10 years he was away. He went to the cafe where Tram worked. When she saw him, she smiled. "Hello. It's been a while since I've seen you." "Hello, Tram," Nam said, taking a seat. I want to talk to you about something." "About Heen, right?" Tram asked, her gaze full of understanding. Nam nodded. "Yes. Can you tell me about her? About her final days?" Tram sighed, her eyes growing distant. "Honestly, I don't know that much. After you left, Heen became very quiet. She kept to herself. She would go to the beach, sit there, and stare at the horizon. When I asked her why, she only said, 'I'm waiting for Nam to come back.'" Nam's chest tightened. He could feel Heen's loneliness, her longing. Then one day, Tram continued, "I saw her holding a diary, crying her eyes out. When I asked her about it, she didn't answer. After that, she went to the beach and she never came back." "A diary?" Nam asked, surprised. "Do you know what diary that was?" Tram shook her head. "I don't. She never let me read it. But I think maybe there was a secret in it. A secret about her death." Nam suddenly remembered Heen's diary. He had read it, but he had only focused on her promises and her pain. He hadn't paid attention to other details. "Tram," Nam said, "can you tell me about any other friends Heen had? Was there anyone who made her upset?" Tram thought for a moment before replying. "Actually, Heen didn't have many friends. She was only close to you and me. But there was one person who I think made her unhappy. His name was Tuan. Tuan? Nam repeated. Who is he? He was one of Heen's classmates. Back then, he really liked her, but Heen only had eyes for you. Tuan hated you for that. He said you stole her from him. Nam's memory stirred. He remembered Tuan, hot-tempered, jealous, often glaring at him with resentment. After you left, Tram went on, Tuan went to see Heen again. He said awful things to her, that you would never come back. That you only saw her as a game. Nam felt his blood boil. His fists clenched tightly. He knew Tuan had caused Heen pain. He was the one who made her lose faith in him. Do you know where Tuan is now? Nam asked, his voice sharp with anger. Tram shook her head. I don't. After Heen died, he moved away. No one's heard from him since. Nam's heart sank. He knew he had to find Tuan. He had to confront him. He had to know exactly what Tuan had said to Heen. Thank you, Tram, Nam said, rising from his seat. Tram looked at him with concern. Nam, don't do anything reckless, okay? Don't worry, Nam replied. I'm not going to do anything foolish. I just want to find the truth. When Nam returned home, his mind was in turmoil. He looked at Heen's diary and suddenly remembered something. There had been a passage about Tuan. She had written, Tuan says Nam betrayed me. He says Nam already has someone else. Nam gripped the diary tightly. He knew Tuan's words had hurt Heen deeply. And he knew it was a lie. He had never had anyone else. There had only ever been Heen. Then another detail came back to him. One page of the diary had been torn out. He remembered noticing it when he first read it. He had thought it was a coincidence. But now he knew it wasn't. That missing page was no accident. There was a secret, one that had been deliberately removed. Nam sat quietly in his room, guilt and rage intertwining inside him. Tram's words and the lines in Heen's diary kept drilling into his mind. He had been wrong to leave. But Tuan, he was even more cruel for planting lies in Heen's heart. Nam knew he couldn't let it go. He had to find Tuan, had to confront him, to reclaim justice for Heen. But Vung Tao was vast. Where would he even begin to look? Nam started his search by asking old friends, people who had once been in school with him and Heen. He went to their old school, sought out the teachers who had once taught them, but everyone said that after Heen's death, Tuan had moved away. No one knew where he'd gone or what he was doing. Nam was disappointed, but he didn't give up. He knew Tuan couldn't have vanished completely. There had to be some tie that still connected him to Vung Tao. One afternoon, while sitting in Tram's cafe, Nam suddenly saw a man walk by. He froze. That face, he knew it. It was Tuan, though his appearance had changed. His hair was longer, his beard unkempt, his face gaunt, his eyes full of worry. Tuan, Nam called out, his voice burning with anger. The man flinched and turned. When his eyes met Nam's, fear flashed across his face. Nam, is that you? Nam stood and strode toward him. What did you do to Heen? He demanded, his voice shaking with fury. What did you say to her? Tuan stepped back, his gaze darting away. I don't know what you're talking about. Stop pretending, Nam said, his tone sharp. I read Heen's diary. I know everything. Tuan glanced at Nam, then at Tram standing behind him, his eyes pleading. Tram understood and stepped toward Nam, placing a hand on his arm. Nam, calm down. Talk this through. Nam brushed her hand away and locked eyes with Tuan. You told Heen I had someone else, didn't you? Tuan lowered his head, silent. Answer me, Nam roared. Answer me. Tuan finally looked up, his eyes full of despair. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Sorry? Nam's voice dripped with bitterness. Will, sorry, bring Heen back to life? Tuan shook his head, tears streaming down his face. No, it won't, but I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted her to forget you. Forget me? Nam spat. Who gave you the right to make her forget me? Who gave you the right to poison her heart with lies? Tuan said nothing. Do you know? Nam said quietly, his tone heavy. Heen is dead. She died because of your lies. Tuan collapsed to his knees, clutching his head, sobbing. No, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. If it's not your fault, then whose is it? Nam shouted. Is it mine? My father's? Or Heen's? Tram moved in close, wrapping her arms around Nam. Nam, please, calm down. Don't do something you'll regret. Nam pulled away. Stepping back, he looked down at Tuan, who was kneeling and sobbing uncontrollably. In that moment, Nam felt a flicker of pity. Tuan too was a victim. A victim of love. Tell me this, Nam said softly. In Heen's diary, there was a torn-out page. Do you know what was on it? Tuan looked up, eyes wide with shock. That page. Heen said she was pregnant. Nam went rigid. He could barely believe what he'd heard. Pregnant? Tuan nodded. Yes, she told me she was pregnant. And she said, the baby was yours. The words hit Nam like a bolt of lightning. His head spun. No, it can't be, he muttered. Suddenly, memories surged back. He remembered telling Heen he would marry her. He remembered that full moon night when they went to the beach together. He remembered everything. So, Heen killed herself because of the baby? Nam asked, his voice trembling. Maybe, Tuan said. She was afraid with you so far away. Afraid of raising the child alone. Nam fell to his knees, clutching his head. My God, what have I done? What have I done? Tram knelt beside him, gently patting his back. Nam, calm down. This isn't all your fault. If it's not my fault, then whose? Nam shouted through tears. I left her alone. I left my own child. Nam looked at Tuan, still kneeling and sobbing. That same flicker of pity returned. Tuan was a victim, yes, but so was Heen. Go, Nam said quietly. Just go, and don't ever come back. Tuan looked at Nam, then at Tram. He nodded, stood up, and walked away, his figure shrinking into the distance. Nam sat there, alone. His heart felt shattered. He hadn't just lost Heen, he had lost a child. But the story wasn't over. He still had questions. Did the baby really exist? Or was it something Heen had imagined? Looking out toward the sea, Nam's resolve hardened. He knew he had to find the truth. He had to uncover the answers, so that both Heen's soul and their child's could truly be at peace. The news that Heen had been pregnant was like another knife to Nam's heart. He sat frozen, the weight of guilt and grief crushing him. He had not only abandoned Heen, he had abandoned their child. Nam knew he couldn't live forever under the shadow of this painful truth. He needed answers. He returned home, heavy-hearted, and went to see his father. He told Mr. Tai everything he had learned. His father listened, his face a mixture of shock and regret. I didn't know she was pregnant. You didn't know, or you chose not to know? Nam asked bitterly. Mr. Tai lowered his head, tears streaming down his cheeks. I'm sorry. I truly am sorry. Nam sighed, saying nothing more. He knew he couldn't put all the blame on his father. The fault was his cowardice, his indifference. Sitting alone in his room, Nam stared at Heen's diary. He remembered the torn-out page, the one that spoke of the baby. He knew he had to find that missing page. He had to know what Heen had written. He searched through Heen's old room, the place where they'd shared their happiest memories. He looked through the wardrobe, the old books, the toys they had once played with, but found nothing. That night, Nam fell asleep in exhaustion. In his dreams, Heen appeared before him, smiling. Nam, what are you looking for? I'm looking for the missing diary page, Nam said, his voice trembling. I want to know what you wrote there. You don't need to look, Heen said. I've hidden it somewhere only you could find. Where? Nam asked urgently. Where is it, Heen? She smiled, then pointed toward a small wooden box, the box they had built together. In there, you'll find everything you need to know. Nam woke with a start. He sat up, staring at the wooden box. He had already searched it before, but found nothing. It must have been just a dream, he muttered. But then he thought of her words, somewhere only you could find. And then it came to him. The box had a hidden compartment, one only he and Heen knew about. He retrieved the wooden box and searched carefully. At last, he found the secret compartment. Inside was an aged letter and a small key. He opened the letter. It was written in Heen's handwriting. Nam, if you're reading this, then I'm probably no longer in this world. I'm sorry for leaving you alone, but I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't live without you. Nam's tears began to fall as he read on. I was pregnant. Nam, the baby was ours. I was so happy. I thought we would have a happy family. But then, you left. You left and didn't come back. I tried to wait for you. But I couldn't. I couldn't raise the child alone. I couldn't face the gossip and judgment of others. I'm sorry, Nam. The letter ended with shaky words. I love you. I love you so much. Nam bowed his head, sobbing uncontrollably. He felt his heart shatter. He had lost not only Heen but also his child. Then his eyes fell on the small key. He remembered, it was the key to a little house he and Heen had once dreamed of. A small house on a hill, overlooking the sea. Nam knew he had to go there. He had to go and uncover the truth. He had to find out if the child had truly existed. And if so, where was the baby now? The next morning, Nam held the key and the map that Heen had left behind. His heart filled with determination. He knew he had to go there, to the house he and Heen had once dreamed of. It was the final place. The place where he hoped to uncover the truth. Nam rented an old motorbike and rode along the coastal road. The sea breeze rushed past, carrying with it the salty tang of the ocean. He glanced out at the water, his chest tightening with emotion. He remembered their childhood days, when he and Heen had dreamed of a small house on a hill overlooking the sea. Heen, I'm coming, Nam murmured. I'm coming to find you and our child. After riding for a long while, Nam arrived at a small hill far from the city center. The hill was desolate, with only a few shabby houses and a narrow dirt path leading to its peak. He rode to the top, and there it was, a small white house, nestled among frangipani trees in bloom. Nam stopped the bike and stepped off. He gazed at the house, his heart swelling. This was exactly the house he and Heen had dreamed of. He walked closer and used the key Heen had left him to unlock the door. The house was small but fully furnished. Everything was neatly arranged and spotless. As Nam stepped inside, he felt the warmth of the home. This was where Heen had once lived, where she had waited for him, where she had raised his child. He wandered through the house until he reached the bedroom. There, beside the bed, stood a small cradle. It was empty, yet Nam could still feel the presence of a baby. His knees buckled, and he collapsed beside it, clutching the cradle as tears streamed down his face. My child, I'm so sorry. Nam choked out. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. Suddenly, a gentle breeze drifted through the room. He lifted his head and saw a photograph on the nightstand. In it, Heen was holding a baby girl. The child had large, bright eyes, just like Heen's. Nam picked up the photo, his heart aching. He knew without a doubt, this was his daughter. He had a child, and yet he had never known. He had abandoned both Heen and their baby. He suddenly recalled a detail from Heen's letter. She had written that she could not raise the child alone. So where was the baby now? Who had taken care of her? He searched through the room until he found a small notebook, Heen's personal journal. He opened it and read the final words she had written. Nam, I sent our child to a close friend. He will raise her. He will love her in your place. I'm sorry I couldn't stay by her side. But I believe you will be a good father. A close friend? Nam muttered. Who was Heen's close friend? Who's been raising my child? Then it struck him, Heen hadn't had many close friends. Only Tram and Tuan. Nam gripped the notebook tightly, his mind in turmoil. He knew he had to find Tram. He had to ask her. He had to know where his child was. He turned back to the photograph of Heen and the baby. He gazed at the little girl's innocent face, feeling a fierce longing, a deep, aching yearning for someone he had never even met. Returning from the house on the hill, Nam went to the cafe where Tram worked. When she saw him, her eyes widened in surprise. Nam, why are you here? Are you okay? Tram asked, her voice full of concern. Nam sat down, looking straight into Tram's eyes. Tram, he said hoarsely, can you tell me about Heen's child? Nam's words left Tram stunned. She stared at him, eyes filled with shock. What are you talking about? What child of Heen? Stop pretending, Nam said bitterly. I read Heen's letter. I know everything. Tram lowered her head in silence, tears streaming down her cheeks. Tell me, Tram. Nam's voice trembled. Where is my child? Tram looked up, her eyes glistening with tears. Nam, I'm sorry. I hid it from you. I hid everything from you. Why? Nam asked. Why would you do that? Tram let out a long sigh, her gaze drifting far away. The day Heen died, she came to see me. She said she couldn't go on anymore. She told me she was pregnant, and she asked me to take care of the baby. Nam clenched his fists, his heart aching. He could feel the depth of Heen's despair. Heen asked me to keep it from you. Tram continued. She said you had already left, and you weren't coming back. She said she didn't want to be a burden to you. So, where's the baby? Nam asked, his voice shaking. Tram glanced at Nam, then out the window, where a little girl of about 10 was playing. The child had big, round, sparkling eyes, exactly like Heen's. Nam, Tram said softly, that little girl, she's your daughter. Nam froze. He couldn't believe his eyes. He looked from the girl to Tram. No, it can't be, he murmured. It's true, Tram said. She's your daughter. I've raised her as if she were my own. Nam stood and walked outside. He stood there, watching the little girl play. A fierce longing rose in him, a yearning for someone he had never met. When the girl saw Nam, she smiled and ran over. Uncle, who are you? Nam knelt down and pulled her into his arms. I'm your father. Nam's tears fell freely. He cried, for Heen, for Tram, and for his daughter. He had found his child, but he had lost Heen. Later, Nam went with Tram to visit Heen's grave. The sea breeze blew hard, and the sound of waves filled the air. Nam stood before the grave, his heart heavy with regret. Heen, I found our child, he said, his voice breaking. She looks so much like you. A soft breeze brushed past him. He felt a chill on his shoulder and turned. In the golden light of late afternoon, he saw Heen's ghost standing there, smiling. You found our child? Heen asked, her voice gentle but brimming with emotion. Nam nodded. Yes, I found her. Heen looked at him, gratitude shining in her eyes. Thank you for finding her. Thank you for loving me. I'm sorry, Nam said, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry I left you alone. You don't need to be sorry. Heen said, you came back, and you found our child. That's enough. Heen looked at her daughter playing with Tram, then back at Nam. A soft smile spread across her lips, no longer haunting, but peaceful and serene. Take care of her, Heen said. Love her, and never abandon her. Nam nodded. I will, I promise. Heen's ghost smiled, then slowly faded into the glow of the setting sun. The sunlight was still warm, but not as bright as before. The sea breeze still blew, but the waves no longer sounded sad. Everything felt at peace. Nam stood there, alone. He gazed out at the sea, emotions swirling inside him. He had found his daughter, but he had lost Heen. He had uncovered the truth, but the truth was painfully heavy. Still, Nam knew life had to go on. He would care for his daughter. He would love her and never abandon her. He would live to make up for his mistakes. He would live so that Heen could rest easy. Nam turned to look at his daughter playing. He smiled, a smile full of tears, yet also full of hope.